Welcome to You're Not Alone, the podcast that brings you real stories of strength, hope, and resilience. Life is full of challenges, and if you are navigating a personal struggle, facing difficult challenges, or simply looking for an inspiration, this space is for you. My name is Victoria Vita. I'm a mindset mentor, Reiki master, and a sound healer. I'm also the CEO and founder of Self Awesomeness and the host of this podcast. This podcast is here to give you hope, inspiration, and the reminder you have community behind you. Our guests are real people just like you who have faced losses, anxieties, and life obstacles, but emerged stronger. Their stories are raw, honest, and full of hope, reminding you that no matter how tough things get, you are not alone. And today's guest is Darlene Brace, a social worker whose journey began as a desire to help others, but led her to a deeply personal healing journey of her own. She had to confront her own childhood traumas, disordered eating, and years of intense overcontrol. But Darlene's healing didn't come through just thinking alone. It came through movement, presence, and energy. Now she teaches others how to truly connect mind, body, and soul. Thank you, Darlene, being here today on this podcast. I think your story is fascinating, and I want our listeners to hear your story. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited and honored to be here.
Thank you. Can you please take us back to what first drew you to be a social worker many years ago?
Yeah, I kind of fell into it a little bit. I just ended up studying psychology in school in my bachelor's. I thought I was going to be a teacher, but I ended up doing psychology, which I loved. And then
Hmm.
I got out and I worked in the health department for a little bit and just realized I wanted to do more. And so there was a wonderful lady and I loved her job, and so I she had MSW behind her name, which means Master of Social Work, and I was like, I want to do that. So I went in and did that, and it's been a nice journey. I've always kind of been the natural listener for my friends, and people have always kind of told me their stories. So it was a natural kind of like fit and slide into.
Yes. I think we all have that connection to ourselves, and people around us reflect that, saying, like, oh, it's really nice talking to you. And you have that patience to listen to them and sometimes give them advice or just share your energy. But you also said that part of your motivation was your own healing. Can you let us know about your personal healing journey?
For sure, it's been a long one. I think
Yes.
I first did counseling back in middle school. Actually, I think someone
Hmm.
at the school realized I was really struggling in my world and put me in some counseling groups, which I really loved and appreciated. And then I kind of ignored it through high school and college until my master's program, and then you have to start looking at yourself and
Hmm.
understanding how you show up in the world so you can be a better person to help other folks do that. And so I had to start confronting some of my own demons, some of my own coping skills that weren't very healthy. And a lot of that had developed out of trauma, childhood trauma. As an early
Of
child,
course.
like disordered eating started really early. I remember like hoarding food at ages like 4 and 5, and it just
Hmm.
continued to like evolve and really hit its peak in grad school because I didn't know how to cope very well. And so I was able to find a great therapist, and she walked me through a lot of things. Did group therapy, I did mindful movement, I did Zumba, I did acupuncture, kind of did a handful of different things um,
Hmm.
that helped me get at every aspect of it.
So, do you remember what was your turning point to realize I need to heal myself?
Yeah, it was the last diet I did, more or less, where I starved myself, ridiculously so. And,
Oh my goodness.
felt great, of course, but didn't feel great because even
Hmm.
losing
Hmm.
weight didn't make me feel better. And so I just realized I was holding on to a lot and I needed to get some help. And I didn't want to be controlled, what felt like be controlled by food anymore. And so
Oh, I
I
love that. Hmm.
it was after my master's, it was in my first job, and I wanted to be whole. I wanted to feel like I wasn't broken anymore from all the
Hmm.
trauma.
Oh, that's amazing. I like what you said, be controlled by food anymore, because I feel like, oh, this is what we do. It's our comfort food, and we need to, like, we just put something into our mouths just to eat, and that makes us feel better for a few minutes, maybe half an hour, and then we feel horrible. Yeah. I've been there. I know how it feels. Yes. But you also said when we talked before that you put a lot of effort into physical activity, right? You said that it was under so much control just to stay on track, just do things. And it was very overwhelming.
Oh,
Can you please tell us
absolutely.
about that?
Yeah, and that really started coming out more in college, and I really would work out to beat myself up, right? To count calories and then counteract calories, and I really didn't know that body movement wasn't just beating yourself up. I thought workout
Hmm.
equaled like go just beat the crap out of your body and then be done. And through my healing
Yes.
journey, my therapist actually, one of her prescriptions was don't work out. I had me stop, and for a while, which was so uncomfortable because again, that's how I used in a way to
Hmm.
find control in my world. And so when I did come back to body movement, it was slow and it was more about being in my body rather than being out of my body. And I think that was a big difference that
Hmm.
like yoga and Zumba and Tai Chi like had helped me come
Uh-huh.
to my body because trauma had told me my body wasn't safe. Check out.
Yes. Yeah. Can you tell us more about being in your body versus being out of your body? I think it will be, I think this concept will help a lot of people who are just going to the gym, let's say, as you said, like we just work out for an hour, 2 hours, just sweating and nothing is happening. And after that workout, you still don't feel great. So, what changes when you actually work out and aligns with who you truly are and what works for you?
Yeah, and that's a big question, and it's going to be different for every single person, I think,
Uh-huh.
out there. But, really being in my body allowed my body to work through the stresses of the day, process emotions and things from the day, release
Mhm.
things from the day, as opposed to go and cause more stress or cause more. But being
Yes.
present in my body helped my body process and release stress and anxiety and all the things much more, as opposed to not being in my body and working out, which I got the physical aspect from it. Like I got the endorphin rush, I got the physical
Yeah.
benefit of it. I just didn't get the emotional and spiritual benefits of it because I wasn't
Mhm.
connected
Mhm.
from it.
Yes. And I think for some people that may work great, right? Just going to the gym, I don't know, spend 45 minutes, but actually with something and do something that really makes your soul happy, your mind, body, and soul happy. But maybe if it's not you dragging yourself there, it's probably not what you want to do. You also said that you began with yoga and Zumba. Can you tell us how that body movement became medicine for you?
Oh my gosh. So I started with yoga because that's what my therapist wanted me to start with, slower
Uh-huh.
movement. And I went to a pretty gentle morning yoga class with some really beautiful instructors who I admire and love to this day. And yeah, the intention was to learn to listen to my body, learn to listen to the feedback of my body. And it wasn't about doing something, to hurt myself, which luckily I was young enough, my body could be pretty resilient. But if I
Mhm.
did things now, 20 years later, or, in another 10 years, I would hurt myself because I was
Uh-huh.
pushing my body too hard. But it allowed me to learn my body's own internal feedback system and listen to it and be okay with the messages I getting. And it also helped me practice, observing my body as opposed to criticizing it and judging it.
I think that's very powerful because we are learning to listen to our body, but we don't know how to interpret the messages we receive. Uh, Do you remember your journey of learning to listen to your body and how it evolves over time? And as you said, 10 years ago, it was one thing. And if you just start doing like all of us, I don't know, go on a treadmill and run for an hour, you probably kill yourself, right? So you'll be like that. But how did you learn to listen to your body? How did you realize that that was the message that I need to hear? It wasn't something that I should ignore.
I mean, I think it happened really slowly over time. I even think it
Mm-hmm.
happened when I was prescribed not to exercise or move my body because I had to stop and slow down. And it took some time over time to learn to witness and learn to make sense of what my body was saying
Mm-hmm.
and to learn to trust that too. Like there was a period
Yes,
of
yes.
time. I mean, this didn't happen overnight. This happened over a series of years, really, to
Mm-hmm.
learn what it means, what I need, honor it, respect it, trust it.
Yes. I think this is something that a lot of people are struggling with, just learning to listen and interpret it. But you had two different activities, yoga and then Zumba. So
Yes.
it's like, okay. How did Zumba appeared in your life and how did it change you?
Definitely. So Zumba came once I was like, I need something. I want to do something more vigorous with the insight and wisdom of my body. And so I started taking Zumba classes, have always loved dancing. And I think, Zumba gave me community. It gave me the
Mm,
ability to be in a room with other people and realize nobody else is looking at what I'm doing. So just focus on what I'm doing as opposed to how they look. And I think that's something that's been really beautiful about the journey and the Zumba communities. They've always said, you do it your way. You listen to your body your way. Your body doesn't have to look like my body. We're here to have
mm-hmm.
fun. It was less of a fitness. I mean, it's a fitness focus, but it's less about calorie counting and burning calories and things like that. It's really more about enjoying the moment and savoring and
Yeah.
moving in a way that feels fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I feel like it's a lot of work to do personally. I think my heart will stop after all this jumping and whatever we need to do there. But maybe I should try. Also, during your healing journey, you start experiencing different modalities, right? You start learning about mind and body connection. You start learning about sound healing. How did you discover all of that?
Slowly again over time. In our grad schools, we're pretty classically trained with cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapies, which are fine and good and have really great aspects to them, but they're all up here. And so
Mm-hmm.
through my own healing journey, I found value in connecting down into my body and learning that. And so I worked with survivors of partner violence and family violence, which was another big part of my healing journey and kind of like the full
Oh,
circle
wow.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized they need more. You can't just think yourself out of feelings and you can't think yourself out of some things.
Yes.
So it came down to integrating in more types of healing that wasn't necessarily there for like talk therapy.
Mm-hmm.
They needed more. I needed more things in that. And
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated the energy work that I got, the massages that I got, the acupuncture that I
Mm-hmm.
got. And that I think because I enjoyed it myself and had the opportunities to start learning some of it in the community, then yeah. And honestly, I started sound healing from a colleague who started doing it and I was like, I think that's great. I love it and I want to try it and I loved it and I love doing
Mm-hmm.
it. And so it evolved into, integrating a lot of different modalities. Yeah.
In your own practice, even right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, how do your clients respond to sound healing and energy healing? Because I know when you go through domestic violence, for a lot of people, it's really hard to talk, especially at the beginning when it happened. Over time, you can talk about it, you can feel things, but at the beginning, I think you just shut down yourself because you feel embarrassed. And how does the sound healing and energy healing helps people to live through their feelings?
Absolutely. When folks experience a lot of trauma, ongoing trauma, we call it complex trauma or maybe early childhood trauma, oftentimes we
Mm-hmm.
don't have the words, right? Which is what makes some of these
Yes.
cognitive therapies really hard because physiologically speaking, that part of your brain wasn't online or isn't online when you're in the heightened emotion. And so being able to get to the emotion of it or the energy of it and allow that to release, right? So many people say they cry during massages or they cry during sound
Mm-hmm.
healing because
Yes.
we are energetic bodies with our own frequencies too. And this is, some of the basis of sound healing. And I integrate it in with polyvagal theory, understanding the nervous system regulation, because that's
Mm-hmm.
essentially what sound healing is doing, just from a sound and frequency base, as opposed to
Mm.
deep breathing or yoga or tai
Yes.
chi or other things.
Yes, yeah. I've had our clients crying too during session, or just being kind of, they felt like, I could feel like they just released all the tension they had. Yes. And you could feel even when I have group sessions, I could feel when it's like, okay, guys, we got to relax, and just not allowing themselves to relax. And at some point, it just clicks and like different energy flows through the studio. And that's when healing begins. Yes. What actually shifted for you after discovering different modalities?
Wow, that's a really good question. What shifted for me? I think also what shifted for me is that after some time in this field, after some time listening to trauma story after trauma story after trauma story, I started getting burnout because, being a listening ear and an empathic heart, that's part of kind of the journey. And so I burned myself out, and then I had to figure
Mm-hmm.
out, do I want to do something else or do I want to keep doing this? And if I do want to keep doing this, how do I take care of myself a little bit better in it? And so, like, sound
Yes,
healing
yes.
has been a part of that, and some ear acupuncture and ear seeding have been parts of that, as well as getting like my own energy work done and
Mm-hmm.
body work
Mm-hmm.
done. So I burned out, and then I had to figure something else out.
So basically, through your personal experience, you found things that worked for you. And I think it's so important in our modern life to find what works for you, because as adults, we do have a lot of things to do, right? As women, we have our job, but we also have family. And if we have kids, it's a lot, it's processing in the back of our mind all the time, right? How do we prevent being burned out? And I have clients who said, oh, I just go to massage. I was like, but it may not be enough for you, right? It has to be something else. And I think looking for those different types of healing, experiencing them, this is what helps us to feel in line with ourselves. It's actually, I talked about it yesterday with my best friend, and she was like, it's so easy, I guess, for men to live because they don't have everything going on in their heads as we women do. So, and how do we relax? How do we let ourselves just to be and don't feel that overwhelmed all the time? So I think that's a great example, that just trying different things, looking for different things. It's not okay to live this way. I
Yeah.
think even like realizing even that. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So, can you tell us about your healing sessions now? So, before, as you said, it was more talking, and now you combine them. Do you do private sessions, or do you do at your main job? So, how does it work for you?
I mean, I kind of do a bunch of different stuff depending on the person
Hmm.
and what the person's preferences are.
Okay.
As far as like therapy, I am trained in EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Longest name
Oh,
ever
wow.
for a therapy. But it is also, we call it a bottom up strategy, whereas top down is thinking, right, to change things in the body. But the other modalities that are shift things in the body to change things in the thinking. And so I really enjoy doing that kind of
Hmm.
therapy. And at the end of sessions, sound healing is oftentimes a really good way to end or to shift energy or to get that kind of last little energetic release around things. So sometimes it's just integrated at the end of sessions. Sometimes I use it at the beginning to like, let's come in and ground and let's find our space.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of different things, combinations of things to find it. And then I do individualized sound healing sessions where you really focus on you as an individual and what's going on, and like a little bit more about like your body and where we store things energetically in our body and releasing things in the body on a more individual level. So I kind of do a handful of things. I love sound baths, and I
Mm-hmm.
sound baths and AccuDetox are really great, beautiful community type healing practices that we have really accessible and that are fairly easy to offer and put on. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to talk. You just show up and you experience and you leave. You don't even have to say hello to anybody if you don't want to.
Yes.
I think a lot of people do talk and chat during those, but I also really appreciate that some of these practices don't just focus on the individual, but focus on a collective, or can help heal
Mm-hmm.
communities past trauma, past the hardships and adversities that communities are facing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is very beautiful that it's not only one helping one person, but actually helping a community. That's very beautiful. And as you said, it all comes from your own experience, right? Um, and as I said at the beginning of this episode, that you are a great example of a person who was actually taking action, not just thinking, oh, I'll do that. And you learned that thinking will not fix things. You had to take actions. And what is your advice for someone who is just beginning their journey, or something that will help them to begin their journey with, so they can go forward without just thinking, but actually start doing?
I mean, I think that it has to be the right space and time with the right people or the right person. And so some of healing is that. And also some of it is just finding what you like and finding, if you're looking for a therapist, finding the right therapist. If you're looking for like a healing
Mm-hmm.
practitioner, somebody that you feel like they listen to you, that they understand you, that you can be comfortable in this space with them to allow the healing to flow. So I think it's such an individual decision to reach out and heal. I just don't get
Mm-hmm.
discouraged if you try something and it doesn't work. Like, try something else, or
Yeah,
try that with somebody else if you can, if you
somebody
have the
else,
ability.
yes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important things to realize, that if you tried one thing and it didn't work with this person, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. Try with a different person, try with a different practitioner, or just go to maybe even a different community, right? So try different things and see what you like. And don't be discouraged going to Zumba class if you feel like this is your calling, but just like, oh my goodness, people will be looking at me and I don't know how to move and I will be judged. So, as you said, nobody is looking at you, just go and do it. Oh, that's amazing, because at the end of the day, we are the ones who heal ourselves and not the other people. Yeah, we just allow the healing to happen with us. Thank you, Darlene, so much for being on today's episode. What will be your encouragement message, your legacy message to the listeners today?
I I think the thing that I always want to depart or have folks soak in is that you are worthy of healing, that healing is possible, and that journey is just within your reach. You just have to reach out for it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. This is so beautiful. This is beautiful legacy message. Thank you. You can find more information and connect with Darlene by following the links below this episode. And if you feel overwhelmed with constant challenges and pressure, check out my 4 stress-free 8 kit tool below as well. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another powerful story. And remember, no matter how tough things get, you are not alone.